What's up, guys? I'm Chad Barnes, and welcome to the channel. Here, it's all about real car talk, from simple fixes to smart driving tips and keeping your ride in top shape. If that sounds good to you, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button, and make sure you watch all the way through. There's a lot of good stuff coming. Let's get to
From Ford
it.
to Kia, it so happened that by the end of last year I had to part with my favorite Focus and move to a more recent Kia Rio. Not because I love Korean cars so much, although I have nothing against them, but because Ford was already actively rusting and, most importantly, sucked money in such sizes that I only quietly cried, periodically throwing him a third of my salary. Age, what can you do? I threw him, so, part of his salary and records of expenses kept. And thought that it would be interesting to compare how much it would cost me today. And would I even be able to buy the parts that had to change over the past year? And since I bought Rio also new, I had to replace some things after the purchase. I will also compare the cost of these parts and consumables as of November last year with the current prices. Just to see if it's that bad or if it's even worse. Ford Focus 2. Let's start with the simplest, with regular maintenance, which includes replacement of oil and filters, oil, air and cabin filters. Last summer the whole service cost me a ridiculous 5,700 rubles, of which the lion's share was for Castrol Magnatec 5W, 30A5 oil. It was charged 3,000 rubles exactly. A call to the same service upset me a bit. Now they asked me to pay 10,500 rubles for the same TO. Why? For example, because the cost of the same canister of oil I was voiced in 6,200 R. For the sake of interest, I looked at how much I could buy this oil myself. Internet search gave a range from 42.97p to 9,857p. Well, 6,200 is, in principle, an average price. If you want, you can still find cheaper, unless, of course, it is not a fake. But since I trust this service completely, I serviced 2 Fords there for many years and was always satisfied with it. I do not think that they are very brazen with the cost of oil. Let's see other consumables. The man oil filter cost me 400 rubles in the summer, the Goodyear air filter 470 rubles, and the cabin filter, also Goodyear, 300 rubles. Let's look at these positions today. So, oil filter man, 832p. Air filter Goodyear, 653p. Cabin Goodyear, 478p. That is, if for all filters I gave 400 plus 470 plus 300 is equal to 1170p, then now the same set costs 832 plus 653 plus 478 is equal to 1963p. The difference is 793p. The difference in the cost of oil, 3,200. Total 39.93p, almost 4,000. The difference in the full cost of maintenance amounted to 4,800 R. So, apparently, the work became more expensive only by 800. Well, it's godly. But humanly speaking, the service has become almost twice as expensive. Now let's move on to minor repairs. In summer I replaced the hub of the rear left wheel. Separately bearing on the second Focus is not changed, only the hub assembly. Since I still wanted to sell the car, put inexpensive hub senior for 5,500 rubles, the work cost 1,500p. A total of 7,000 exactly. And here I was a bit shocked by the prices. The same hub today costs 15 to 17,000, and for the original asking some abnormal 71 to 117,000 rubles. Yeah. In the summer for the original asked 12,500. Now, the rear shock absorber support. It cost me 3,500 rubles FAG, and, strangely enough, in the same store where I bought it in the summer, it still costs 3,500. The original, however, began to cost 18,000, but who will buy it? For the work I gave 1,200 rubles. And let's assume that humane servicemen did not increase the cost of replacement this year. Replacement of 2 radiators, cooling system and air conditioner cost 18,500, of which about 12,000 cost 2 radiators. Nissans, the rest, antifreeze, work and filling the air conditioner. Unfortunately, I can't tell you how much each of them cost, but I can tell you how much they cost now. Engine radiator, 12,000, air conditioner, 10,000. The total increase amounted to about 10,000 rubles, and taking into account air conditioner refueling and the cost of antifreeze, at least twice as much. One last thing, replacing the timing set. Last year I paid 5,000 for everything. The cost included replacement of the pump, timing belt, original Ford, pump, 2000, valve cover gasket Febby, 1600p. Antifreeze was not changed, it was fresh after replacing radiators. Now such a set without a pump costs 13,000, the pump SKF, another 2800, the same gasket Febby, 2600p. The pump went up in price the least. The work cost 5,000, so now instead of 15,500 would have to pay at least 23,000. And this I consider as a minimum, most likely it will be a little more expensive. And the last thing, I had to change the ignition coil. I bought AC Delco for 3,800 R. Now it costs 6580. I changed it myself, so I will not specify the cost of replacement. So, let me summarize. I managed to pass only twice in the fall. I remind you, I sold the Ford. Both cost me 11,400 rubles. Hub replacement, 7,000, radiator replacement, 5,000, timing replacement, 15,500, rear shock absorber support, 4,700 R. Coil, 3,800. Total for the year, 6,900 rubles, gosh, for a partial year on the second Focus. Well, how much would I give for the same thing today? Let's do the math. 21,000, hub, 16,500, radiators, 22,000, minimum, timing, 23,000, also minimum, prop, 4,700, coil, 6,580. Total 93,780. The growth amounted to 32,880 rubles or 54%. I did not take into account the increase in the cost of antifreeze, some small consumables and works. Of course, there is no growth in 3 or 4 times, as some people think. But this is for now. And almost 100,000 a year for the maintenance of the second Focus, it is, of course, abnormal. However, 60,000 is also a lot for it, and something could be found cheaper, but I did not want to save money on my car. But then I gave up and bought the third Rio. Kia Rio. There will not be a lot of statistics here. Having lived sex life for 3 years with the old Focus, I chose Rio carefully. After a month and a half of searching I found a car after one owner with original mileage of 100,000 and dealer service. From the shortcomings was noticed only one, asked to retire one ignition coil, which are replaced with my own hands. Of course, I bought a non-original coil. Last year they asked 390 rubles for it. Ha ha ha, now in the same online store for the coil with Hyundai Kia logo they asked for 10,350 rubles, and especially frumpy sellers, 13,975 rubles. However, I bought an average Mando coil for 2,750 rubles, and today it costs 5190 rubles, I repeat, in the same store. The increase in the cost of the original coil amounted to 6,450 R. If you count at a minimum, that is 258%. On the analog is much less, 2,440p. Or 89%, which is also up to a lot. In addition, I had to do a simple maintenance with the replacement of oil in the engine and all filters. I did it in the service of friends, so I did not give them any money. But the list of spare parts remained: Oil Mobile 5W, 30 ESP formula, 3,200p. Air filter Mahal, 600p. Oil filter Man, 500, carbon cabin filter, 300p. Altogether cost me 4,600p. Today this oil costs a minimum of 5,700p. Although some beasts do not see the banks and asked for 12,041p. Air filter Mahal, 1,500, but there with the prices there is some kind of jumble. Apparently, speculators have not yet decided what to take. You can buy the original and some other good analogs much cheaper. Oil filter Man, 810p. Here, too, the price at some sellers reaches 1,500, damn them all. Cabin filter, 430p. The total turns out to be 8,440p. Increase at least 3,840p or 83.5%. It is interesting that it comes out noticeably more expensive than in Ford, and in fact the cost of Rio maintenance can grow twice. Actually, the replacement of the timing chain has already been calculated to me in one place twice. 24,500 rubles turned out in the first time and 51,400 the second, 3 weeks later. Lord, give strength to the chain links of my car's motor. What to do? I will paraphrase one of idioms of my friend, who listens to Ivan Kuchin and has Pardex in the form of domes all over his back. It remains to take out the SHIUS and stab myself. This price increase is far from final and nothing will become cheaper. It is especially sad against this background to see that some sellers just brazenly take advantage of the moment and inflate prices at will. Maybe they will calm down a bit, but it is not certain. On the bright side, I found all the parts for both Kia and Ford with ease. There are both originals, though at quite cosmic prices, especially for Ford, and analogs on sale. This, of course, pleases. In addition, the most inexpensive substitutes that came to us from China, in the price added not too much, and desperate heads can save even more. Well, I will probably go to put on my car 2 more alarms, mechanical locks on the hood and the selector of the automatic transmission. An iron squawk on the steering wheel. With such prices for spare parts, soon cars will start to be dragged from the yards to the dismantling in packs. They will drag, of course, not their own cars, but someone else's. That's why an extra alarm system won't hurt now. In conclusion, while the joy of owning a used car has certainly increased, it's essential to recognize the evolving costs associated with servicing these vehicles. Over the past few years, we have seen a significant shift in expenses, with some services becoming more affordable while others have risen. Understanding these changes can help you make informed decisions and enjoy your driving experience even more. As we continue to navigate the world of used cars, staying aware of these trends will ensure that living with a vehicle remains not only fun but also financially manageable. Thank you for watching and drive safely.